We are Bryce and Jen, or otherwise known as the Average Wanderers. Being just two fairly average people, we wanted to bring some change into our lives. We sought out adventure by selling our house in 2021 and built a race red cargo van into a home on wheels. The epoch took us to a ton of amazing locations across the U.S. But our ultimate goal in the van was to seek out where we wanted to settle down. With Bryce's endless searching, he found a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity in this abandoned estate.
What's happening right now?
I am finishing signing offers, and I've been looking for a few years, not seriously, and then kind of got in a situation where that just popped up, and it was pretty much exactly what we're looking for at a price we could afford. And so this is the offer. We may or may not get it, but I really, really hope we do. And all I need to do is hit accept a few more times, and then it's done.
Woo! Without being able to see this property in person before purchasing, we took a leap of faith and trusted our gut, and hoped we went with something that was within our skill set.
All right, here's the big moment, Jen. We're gonna see our house for the first time.
Knowing that this property required some TLC, the potential of this location locked us in. Our next steps are to improve the property and make upgrades to all the buildings with our below average skill set.
What we thought was gonna be a happy moving day has become a disaster.
You just spent all the money you have in the world to buy something, and you immediately ruin it.
I feel like we're in a home! We're in a home!
We would love to have you come along as we take on this new journey.
Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to my crib. Oh, I mean cabin. Come on in. This is our 2015 Amish cabin located in the Northwoods of Wisconsin. You may notice we have a lot of camping gear, and that is because we recently moved out of our van. So bear that in mind as we take you along on this tour. Welcome to our living room, the biggest space in our house. We bought this cabin about 2 months ago, but really have only been living here for about a month. And that is because we had to overcome quite a few challenges. And if you're interested in seeing that, we'll link it up somewhere in the corner. But with that said, let's get to the grand tour of this very tiny cabin. Like I said, this is our living room, and our cabin is on grid, but we only have a wood stove for our heating source, which for some of us has been a learning curve.
Can you see my fire? It's just burning like my soul. Oh, it's going out.
And we'll take a short walk over into our kitchen. As you can see, we use more camping gear for our stove, and that is because we do not have an oven or a stove in the setup currently. But good old Coleman works like a charm. One thing we did request to stay with the cabin was this island, and that is because we don't have much counter space or storage. And that is one thing that we really want to optimize as we make progress with the cabin. This space is kind of weird and has a lot of clutter, and that's because it's our catch-all area. Example, we have an exercise bike back here, and that is because we also use this for where we exercise and where for our dogs play. But I'm really excited for this space because it does have a lot of potential to transform it into a luxurious kitchen or whatever we want. But if you have any suggestions on what to do with this space or how to optimize it, we would love to hear your suggestions and advice down below. Follow me along into the kitchen. As you can see that we have this shabby fridge that came with the property. We would love to replace this fridge and move it over into our catch-all space and replace it with an oven stove in this area. As we move along, what I really love about this kitchen is the live edge countertops and all just the natural wood of the cabin. The one thing that maybe could be improved upon is our lighting. And Bryce will talk more about that later. We did have a washer and dryer in this nook, but we realized that they did not work. So Bryce rigged up a nice shelving system for our toaster oven and microwave, and eventually we'd love to make it into a full pantry just so we can have more food storage. From our pantry, you go right into our bathroom, and as you can see, it is a very tiny bathroom, and yes, only one person really can be in here at a time. From here, let's move into our very luxurious bedroom. And as you can see, this is where Big Boy likes to get away from his little sister. Yeah. And we find that this room to be the homiest space in the cabin so far. And I think it's really because of the natural wood beams exposed and with the lighting and windows in here. When you wake up in the morning, the sun comes directly through. And so you get to have that circadian rhythm that we've always dreamed of. Initially, when we moved in, we thought that this space would be the coldest part of the house, but really it's actually the hottest once we get all of our bodies in here, and it just creates so much heat that we actually have to open up the windows at night when we're sleeping. This space is really small, and I think it has a lot of potential, especially if we knock out this wall, or at least where the window is, and expand it onto the porch to make a larger bedroom. Okay, Kane, we're gonna leave you in here and we're gonna take you to the last spot in the cabin, and that is going up these treacherous ladder steps to the loft. Oh, that's so scary. Welcome to the loft, or currently known as Bryce's office. He likes to come up here to escape to do yoga because he gets mauled by the dogs when he's downstairs. But I think the real reason why he likes it up here is because of all the natural light and the beautiful views he gets out of that window. We also use this space right now to put some of our big storage items, but we hope to in the future make this an escape for Bryce with all of his retro video games. Now that you've seen the inside of our cabin, let's take you outside so we can show you our property. Did I ever mention this is my least favorite part of the cabin?
This part is really sketchy. You don't really have enough space to put your feet either because of these drawers that are built in.
And it's square handles. Or railings. Oh, we can date it.
You may have also noticed another holdover from the van. This is like a shoe rack that we got off Amazon. It's been awesome. We used it a ton just to put all of our different athletic shoes. And in the cabin, it's a little cluttersome. It's not like something we're gonna use forever, but I've really enjoyed having it just so we can put our shoes away, our gloves, all, keys, all that sort of stuff.
And I have a place to put all my junk.
Our junk.
Aww.
All right, let's take a tour outside. Since we bought this property, there's a lot of things that we want to upgrade and change with the cabin. One of them being this entryway porch. It's pretty rough and patched together, but today it's keeping snow from getting in the door, so it's functional. So we'll be leaving it as is, but just know that it's on our short list. Over here, you can see if you watch some of our other episodes, we did some skirting around the cabin that has helped insulate it and heat it better so that our water pipes don't freeze during the winter. One thing that really impressed me about this Amish built cabin is it sat abandoned for 2 years and no mice were able to get inside of it. So that's high praise to whoever the builders are of this place. It is a 14 by 40 and the front deck adds another 10 feet, 10 by 40. So we'll take you over there and show you the deck. This is our front deck. We use it for keeping our wood dry during the winter. It's also just a really nice big open space. I think our plan with this in the future is to put bug netting in and just kind of build a screened-in porch for now. Getting chilly out here, but let me take you down and show you the lake. Come with me. There's this nice path all the way down to the lake. I picture bike jumps and all sorts of cool stuff on here. That's probably unrealistic, but I can fantasize. This is one of my favorite parts of the property. There's a fire pit already built down by the lake. I cannot wait to upgrade this into the dream bonfire pit so we can spend warm summer nights down here hanging out with our friends. On this side of the cabin, you'll see access to the crawl space. Any of you that watched our first video on the cabin will remember that area. I don't know what is going on, but this is on. Oh my God. Down here is an insulated shutoff valve for the water. And then we have a handle that's frost proof. So if we ever just do need water, but have the water pump turned off, that always works. Over here is the well. We have a 5-inch well that's dug on this property. It was 276 feet deep and it was dug in 2015. That was one of the major reasons I wanted to buy this place, is I did know when the well was dug and how deep it was. And that's a very expensive process. When I was reading about it, it was something like $15 to $30 a foot on average. So at 270, you do the math. It gets pretty expensive pretty quick. Behind me, you'll see our septic system. On this side, we have a 1,000-gallon holding tank. And on this side, we have a mound system drain field. They were installed in the early 2000s, but they still function perfectly and were a huge selling point along with the well for this property.
As you can see, we're in the middle of a frozen tundra right now, but in the future when it warms up and the ground thaws, we would love to put a garden over in this area just so we can start producing our own food and learning new skills.
As Jen said inside, we are actually on grid for our power here. Eventually, I would like to have a solar setup so we could rely less on the city, and that could be more of a backup in case our solar went down. But for today, and for probably this year, we'll be on grid. One of the things that was brought up in the first video of this property is just how I felt the land was kind of mismanaged and just how much scrap wood there was around the property. As you can see behind me, there are piles that are 4 and 5 feet thick of scrap wood that have been sitting on this land for who knows how long, 20 years maybe, since like the original place was established. And pretty much anything that was cut in these walking paths was just chucked into giant piles. They're all over, and we also live in a rainforest environment on this peninsula, so it's very wet. Tons of snow, tons of rain, so most of this wood is just mush at this point. Eventually, we'd like to clear this space out so it's more usable and less of a hazard. Right now, I'm just scared of the dogs or us walking into nails and debris, so just look forward to that in future videos. So next, we'll take you down the driveway, we'll go over to the shop, and I'll show you the shop cabin. Come on. Another thing that we want to clean up on the property that's pretty obvious is this huge mess. It is highly functional, and I do enjoy having the lights at night, but it's pretty unsightly. This is our shop. It's a 40 by 40 Northwood pole barn built in 2006. And then on the right side of it, there was cement poured, and in 2015, another shop cabin was built inside of it. On the left side here, you'll see we have like a lean-to, which is great. We've been storing all of our wood there to keep it dry. This was an absolute disaster when we first bought the property. You can see in some of the shots here. It just had all sorts of garbage and mouse nests and everything, and we've really cleared that up. I'm pretty satisfied with how this has turned out so far. All right, let's go inside the shop and try to warm up a little bit. I'm really excited for the shop space. Being a total gearhead my whole life, and working out of really tiny garages and never really having any space like this myself, this is the dream come true, right? This is one of the main things I was actually looking for on a property, was having a big outbuilding and then a living space. But the outbuilding actually was more important for me when I was doing the search. Right now, the pole barn is just gravel floor. In order to keep the mice out and protect this building and protect my cars that I'd like to eventually bring and build here, I do have to get cement down. So that's kind of the first thing that I'm hoping to do, assuming we can save up the money between now and summer. The shop is completely unheated and uninsulated. So it is just kind of like a multi-purpose space that I use for making furniture, cutting wood, working on cars, whatever needs to get done, right? But since it's been so cold, I haven't really spent a whole lot of time out here. It's just been very purposeful. I do really look forward to building some more permanent stuff in here and shelving and things this summer.
Come inside our bonus cabin for a quick tour before I freeze to death.
Okay, I'm not gonna make her shoot that again because she might actually die.
So this is our future guest cabin, and right now it's still in disarray from when we first moved in. We haven't touched this space at all, other than Bryce storing all of his tools in here. But we have lots of plans for this space because we hope to have a lot of friends and family come and visit, and we want to make it as cozy as possible for them and a space where they can feel like they can escape. Right now, the colors are not in our motif, but that is where I come in, and I'm so excited to get to paint and decorate and just make it as homey as possible in here.
The shop cabin is a long, skinny space, so it's quite strange the way it's laid out, but I think we're gonna be able to make good use of it. Out here is just a screen-in door like you'd find on a deck with what used to be a sandbox and then a kind of patio area. Just as Jen said, this place was pretty much untouched besides us sanitizing it a little bit since we bought the property. Since it's not heated, we haven't really wanted to spend a whole lot of time out here, but I'll just give you the quick rundown of what's in the room. We just kind of have this makeshift table desk, which has worked great for being a flat space to put objects on. We have what used to be kind of a projector setup, which is pretty cool. You can kind of see here that there was different places to put projectors and stuff like that. We have the same wood stove, which is like a cheaper wood stove called the Defender that we have inside. This one is gonna need some work. There's a seal up in here that every time it rains, it leaks. So that's where the rust came from. What I was really worried about with this particular cabin was it having a lot of water damage. When we first saw pictures of the property, I knew that there was some holes in the roof. If you watch the episode previous to this, you'll see me filling like 60 holes above this building. But what ended up being something that looked awful on the inside upon further inspection, it's not bad. So let me just show you the rest of this space. This is a long hallway with the air vent up there. This building was actually really nicely built, and one of our neighbors did the cement. He did an amazing job. There's no cracks, no blemishes, even after 8 years. So the first room is like a bedroom that we're currently using for a gym. Let me take you in there. This is it in all of its glory. With the nearest gym being over a half an hour away, we're gonna have this be our home gym. Even though it's a pretty small space, I think it's maybe 12 by 8, but that'll work for us. And we'd also like to set it up so that there can be a bed in here, but it's also a usable, functional gym. One last room before we both get frostbite. Lastly, this is the bathroom. It's also where the water pressure tank is. And so if you come over here, you can see all that stuff. There's a water heater on top, water pressure valve, and all the other water stuff down here for the property. One of the downsides about having all of the water pressure in this building is we do have to actually keep this bathroom heated in order to have water at our cabin all winter. As a connoisseur of baths, I am really excited to get rid of this 15-gallon water heater someday and put another on-demand in here and eventually be able to take baths on the property. So that is the dream. Thank you for joining us today on this tour. We had a lot of fun showing you guys around, and for us to even just have this video and be able to look back on it in a few years is going to be really fun. I can't wait to see all the changes that take place.
If you really enjoyed this content today, we hope that you come along for the journey as we take on new projects and learn a lot of new skills.
Yeah, just like with van life, the on-ramp to living out here in the woods is huge. It's been straight vertical, as you can tell from our other episodes in this series.
So thanks for watching, and we can't wait to see you on the next one.